Hello once again everyone, it is Jello here, and we are finally back with another video. And today we will be comparing the performance between the 5500 XT and the 1650 Super. Which card should you buy? Let's find out. Before we begin, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Joyo Marketing for providing us with our samples. What we have here is the 8GB version of the Gigabyte 5500 XT Gaming OC and the MSI GTX 1650 Super AERO ITX. We were supposed to get the 4GB version of the 5500 XT to directly compare to the GTX 1650 Super based on price, but our partner store accidentally sent us the 8GB version instead, which is about 28% more expensive than the GTX 1650 Super. Before we get to the actual performance, let's take a quick look at the cards. The Gigabyte RX 5500 XT Gaming OC has a triple fan design just like what we see on other Gigabyte cards that uses a WindForce 3X technology. It has three 80mm fans with the middle one spinning in a different direction compared to the other two. It is a dual slot card and is just a little over 11 inches in length. At the side we see the Gigabyte logo, and yes, it is RGB. It has 3 display ports and a single HDMI port. This card requires an 8-pin power connector, and Gigabyte recommends at least a 450-watt power supply. It also comes with a backplate, but it's made of plastic. One thing worth mentioning though, that if you hold the cooler this way, it feels as if the cooler would come off. I'm guessing Gigabyte used a different material this time to keep the price down. It doesn't feel as solid and robust compared to the Gigabyte cards that we covered in the past. Now looking at the MSI GTX 1650 Super AERO ITX, it only uses a single 100mm fan for cooling. It is also a dual slot card and it's really small, measuring just under 7 inches in length. For the display outputs, it has a display port, an HDMI port, and a DVI port. There's no RGB on this card and it doesn't have a backplate as well. This card requires a 6-pin power connector and MSI recommends a 350-watt power supply. For our testing, I reverted back to stock speeds for a Ryzen 5 1600 because my AIO had some issues and I had to use the stock cooler. I've also added two 120mm slim fans at the bottom of the Cougar QBX to help with some cooling. I also didn't do any tweaking on the cards, so both were tested with out-of-the-box settings. And now, here are the results. Based on our testing, the performance between the two cards is quite similar. We did see the GTX 1650 Super get the lead with 3 out of the 5 games that we tested. However though, based on some other sources with more games tested, the 5500 XT is faster but not by much. For the cooling performance, the MSI GTX 1650 Super reached a maximum of 77 degrees. It did get pretty loud during the testing. The Gigabyte 5500 XT Gaming OC did get pretty hot, reaching at a maximum of 87 degrees with the fan topping up at 47%. I did raise the case to get a little bit of airflow underneath. This did bring down the temperatures to around 78 degrees. But this is more of a case issue though, because we were testing in an ITX case with very little airflow. It can also easily be fixed with a little tweaking with the fan curves. So which card should you buy? Based on the prices, the Gigabyte RX 5500 XT is about 28% more expensive than the MSI GTX 1650 Super, but only delivers very similar performance. So it wouldn't make much sense to get the 8GB 5500 XT at this price point. However, the 4GB version of the 5500 XT is similarly priced with the GTX 1650 Super, but I think the performance would be slower. I would say that the GTX 1650 Super has the better value at this price. But at the time of this filming, AMD is including 2 games if you get the 5500 XT. So if you don't have those games yet, it will somehow give more value to the 5500 XT. So like this video if you like it, subscribe if you haven't yet so you won't miss any updates. And that is it for today, and I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.